So, welcome to our forum featuring candidates for Mountain View Los Altos School District Board member. I'm Carol Rhodes, member of the League of Women Voters and the moderator for today's forum. The forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Los Altos and Mountain View, the Mountain View Public Library, and AAUW, the American Association of University Women. KMVT is here at the back of the room videotaping the forum for broadcast. It'll be available in about a week on KMVT or on their YouTube channel. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization of women and men established to promote political responsibility through informed, active participation in government. The League doesn't support, oppose, or evaluate candidates or parties. The League does, after careful study, sometimes take positions on issues. The League invites anyone who's interested in government, politics, and serving the community to join. We also encourage you to visit the website, votersedge.org, for more voter information that's tailored to your own ballots. That's really useful. At the back, well, actually the side of the room, you'll find flyers and other materials with key dates and information for this election cycle, including voter registration forms. If any of you have young people about to become voters, please take one home with you. The format for today's forum will be as follows. Each candidate will make a 2-minute opening statement. Next, the candidates will respond to questions from you, the audience. Questions should be of general interest. Question sorters, who are League members and sponsors, will review and select from the questions that are submitted. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to every question. Finally, the candidates will have 2 minutes for closing statements. To help us stay on track, we have our timekeeper, Jane Reed, who's right here in the middle, opposite you, and she'll signal the candidates when the time is up. We ask our audience and candidates to abide by the following guidelines. For the audience, questions to candidates must be written on cards provided by the League. League volunteers will be circulating throughout the forum to hand out cards and to collect audience questions. We ask that you refrain from any audience demonstration, clapping, commenting, etc. during the forum. Not that it looks like a terribly rowdy group. No. Please turn off all electronic devices that beep. Now would be a perfect time to do that if you haven't already. And if any of you are using recording devices, we ask that you record the content and share any content in its entirety so that things stay in context. Candidates. The moderator, me, will enforce firm time limits. After I say thank you and your time is up, please end your comments. Candidates are asked not to interrupt each other, and campaign materials may not be displayed within the forum room, but as you know, space has been provided for campaign materials outside the forum room. It's against the blue table opposite the door to this room. Now, I'd like to introduce the candidates who are running for 3 open seats on the Mountain View Los Altos High School District Board. Candidates are seated in the order that they drew just before the forum. So we have Katherine Vonnegut, Debbie Torok, and Fiona Walter. A 4th candidate, Steve Nelson, was unable to be here this evening. He's provided a brief statement, which I will read now before the other candidates' opening statements. Please note that the following statement was written by Mr. Nelson. Stephen Nelson is an alumni parent of district students from 2004 to 2018. On the ballot, he couldn't be listed as both a retired engineer and a retired teacher. He is also a retired Mountain View Wisman School District School Board member. Particularly from that last recent 4-year experience, he is ready to hit the ground running as a trustee. His #1 priority is the district core value of quality, excellence of instruction and program. Every teacher, every classified staff member, and every administrator should set this focus. Second would be fiscal policy to support that excellence and equity and achievement. He understands the details of LCFF supplemental grant and LCAP process. Like retiring Trustee Michener, he can understand a district budget down to the individual SACS line items and knows what CSAM and GASB 45 mean. Third, improve community outreach and contact by actions as a trustee with a regularly monthly greet and gripe. He can't promise improved board communications, but he can absolutely promise individual responsibility for improving two-way communications. It's proven Steve Nelson can affect change in public policy in a local legislative setting. He was able to work legislative majority compromises with a vote with Trustee Ellen Wheeler, for instance, in getting all quadrants of Mountain View Wisman their own 450-student permanent neighborhood elementary. Experience, honesty, perseverance, vote for Nelson. That concludes the statement by Steve Nelson. Now, let's begin the forum with opening statements. Will you begin, Katherine Vonnegut, please?
Hi. I believe in MVLA. I want to serve as MVLA trustee to support the excellent education that is already being delivered to our students and help them to be successful in a competitive and fast-changing world. I'm committed to the ongoing enhancement of our facilities and technologies to support student learning. I will work diligently to make decisions to support all students for academic, social, and emotional success, no matter what range of challenges they face. My son is now a high school chemistry teacher in the East Bay, and conversations with him give me other insights into what MVLA may need. I like the analogy of students being all colors of precious gems in the rough. Teachers, staff, parents, and the community participate in shaping and polishing the facets to allow their potential to shine. As for my background, I have volunteered to help youth in our community for over 40 years. I have been MVHS PTSA president and PTA council president, grad night treasurer, and received PTA service awards. I have chaired school site councils. I've served as the treasurer of the MVLA Community Scholars. I'm currently on the MVLA Adult School Advisory Board. I have been the webmaster for Challenge Team for 5 years, and this keeps me connected with people and organizations that support the youth of our community. I volunteer with the Red Cross as an EMT and a first aid instructor. I am a retired software engineer with a BS in math and MS in computer science. I believe in contributions. My contributions and background give me excellent perspectives on school governance, and I want to support MVLA as a trustee and will work diligently to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Debbie Torok?
Right. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'd like to start by giving you some background on myself, as many of you may not know me, but I think a lot of you might. I was raised an Air Force brat, and I attended 9 schools before graduating from high school on a military base in England. After graduation, I worked my way through college, becoming the first in my family to graduate, which makes me feel really indebted to the AVID program. I was one of 2 women in my class to graduate with a bachelor's degree in computer science. I began volunteering at Cupertino Co-op Nursery School in 1994 with my eldest child, and continued volunteering in the district as my 3 children went to Springer, Covington, Block, Egan, and Mountain View High. I'm still involved in volunteering today. Over the 8 years that I had a child at Mountain View High School, I observed their very different learning styles, passions, and interests. As they transitioned to and graduated from college, they have given me greater insight in today's MVLA grads' needs to prepare them for the success beyond high school. My youngest child, like Katherine's, obtained his master's degree in education and is teaching 8th grade English. As he shares his experiences with me, I have even a better understanding of the challenges of our teachers face today. I work full-time, and my job uses state-of-the-art technology, which I've continued to try to leverage for our district. I'm dedicated to enhancing the promises of technology for student learning while minimizing the distractions. I have been steadfastly dedicated to doing whatever I can to help ensure the success of our students, and I believe my experiences on the board will enable me to continue and even expand upon this work. Thank you.
Thank you. Fiona Walter.
Hi, everyone. I am Fiona Walter, and I'm the current board president with the MVLA High School District. And I'm completing my first term and hoping to stay on for a second. Thank you so much to League for hosting tonight. Thank you, Carol, for moderating. And thanks to all of you for being here. It's very fun to see friendly faces in the audience. A little bit about me. I grew up in Washington State. I came down here to attend Stanford, where I earned 2 engineering degrees, and I've lived in Mountain View for 24 years. I have 2 recent Mountain View High School grads, a sophomore and a senior in college. My journey in education here in town began with PTAs, elementary, middle, high schools. Along the way, I served 2 terms with the Mountain View Wisman School District, serving 2 years as board president there. I've been part of executive boards for parcel taxes and bond campaigns, most recently co-chairing the Measure E facilities bond this past spring. And of course, the last 4 years on the MVLA board, which got us to tonight. So I'm seeking a second term with MVLA to address future student needs, as well as provide continuity on many long-term projects. Sustained leadership is essential in these key areas: academic and mental health support for struggling students, construction to accommodate future enrollment growth, critical budget decisions as more students enter our schools, and ongoing teacher support for new curriculum and technology requirements. I'm proud of our amazing students and our very successful schools. The challenge that school board work provides is an ongoing passion for me, and I love doing it. I would appreciate your vote for a second term with MVLA. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. And now we'll turn to audience questions. We'll ask the candidates in rotating order, and we'll begin with Debbie Tora. Oh, great, thanks. Why are you running for the board? What impact does a board member have on the school district and its students?
I'm running for the board because I think my innate being is to volunteer and to care about students. And growing up, even as I was the ASB president of my high school. And so even that has spurred me on to be where I am today. So my core being is volunteering. And given that and being on the board now, I think I've made an impact in helping students be successful and going on and graduating and going to college. And it just fuels me in wanting to do more. I'm not ready to quit. I would like to have another 4 years.
Fiona? And
Yeah.
if any of you want me to repeat the question, just let me know.
Yes, I'm seeking a second term because I love the work, and there's so much more to do. There's so much more to get done. As I talked about, we've got critical budget decisions coming with more kids in our campuses. We've got a construction plan to follow through with and follow up on those promises that we've made to the community. We all worked so hard to pass the bond this past spring. I would hate to step down and not get to now participate in executing those plans. We have more that we can do for our students. There's so much more that can be done that I'd like to stay on. Thanks.
Katherine?
Well, I'm running because, as I said before, I've worked with youth in all different capacities for over 40 years, PTA, school site council, and so on. And this is one thing I have not done, and I know it's a big commitment. I have been told that I will probably spend 4,000 hours over the next 4 years doing this, and I'm ready and dedicated on doing that for children, for the academics, for their mental health, and another big thing I'm interested in is the technology. Being a software engineer, I know the technology and I've watched it change over the last 40 years, and I want to be part of how it's used in the classroom and administratively in our schools.
Thank you. Second question will begin with Fiona Walter. How do you propose closing the achievement gap between students of color and others?
So this is one of those ongoing things that I mentioned. We've got so many strategies in play that we're actively chasing, that we're actively working on. So we've expanded our AVID programming to include more students beyond the AVID criteria. AVID is advancement via individual determination. It's one of our course offerings at our high schools. To catch kids up, we've got a 2-year algebra program. To encourage kids to participate in AP, we have pre-AP being piloted at Los Altos High School this year to better train them in what an AP class would look like. This is an ongoing task, and it covers so many different arenas, particularly as you try and weave in student mental health as well. So, in that arena, the stronger a student's mental health can be, the better they can focus in class. So those are ways that we're hitting that.
Katherine?
Well, as I've already been mentioned, AVID is a very important and strong program, and we could use always expanding programs like that. We have tutorial centers at the schools, and hopefully those are being helpful to our students. We have summer school that does some remediation for students in the summer, and that we evaluate that every year, and I hope that continues. Also, mental health is an important issue for students that are underachieving too, because sometimes part of the problem is their families are not as educated or whatever, and it's helpful to have counselor support and so on to spur students on and support their goals and the fact that they can and will be able to do it.
Debbie?
Okay, it's really nice going third because I echo everything they say, and then I can add on to things that most likely they were already thinking. Besides AVID, we also encourage students to take AP classes, and we are looking at providing AP classes which students can be successful in. If they take a class and they enroll in it and it clicks, then all of a sudden they understand that they can be successful. So giving them that ability and giving them that chance to be successful may spur them on to do better. And we're doing that with several AP classes. We also give loaner laptops to everyone in our district, and we provide links for them or computer access from home if they don't have it. So the idea is, how can we serve all of our students? And it's not about whether they're black or whatever they are. All the students are the same, and we care about all the students and working to meet their needs.
Thank you. Katherine, we'll start you with the third question. At the board level, how do you see possibilities for more collaboration with the 2 elementary school districts?
Well, I know the superintendents and so on already collaborate and articulate between the elementary districts and the high schools in terms of curriculum. For instance, in math has been a hot topic over the years, and other, to have the children ready for high school. I think groups such as the one I'm associated with, Challenge Team, which is a collaboration of many professionals, both school, health, school resource officers, judicial, and so on, can help encourage collaboration between the groups too. And perhaps a meet and greet or more actual casual meetings with other school board members from other districts would be helpful too.
Thank you. Debbie?
Wow, you're doing great, Katherine. Anyways, yes, we're working with our feeder districts to helpfully align the classes as they enter the high school district, and doing some early testing to do some assessment. Let's see, we have an 8th grade information night where we inform the parents what the opportunities are and help guide them into what classes the students should take. But I think we've come a long way, and we're doing a lot better in our communication with our feeder schools, and we can do more, but we're on the right path.
Fiona?
Thanks. I love the example of Challenge Team. That was awesome. That was a great example. We all attend, most of us in this room actually are at Challenge Team. Okay. other ways that partnering with the feeder district, with our elementary districts is so important because we want that smooth handoff. We want the warm handoff. It's one of the things that I think our 3 local school boards have made a priority for our superintendents is to have the superintendents work together. Dr. Harding's here. One of the things that he does is travel around to the middle schools to talk to the 8th grade parents, right? It's the tour, and they talk about the coursework and what's coming and how to prepare, and that's a really nice outreach piece. We have worked on a common algebra assessment, knowing that both districts teach algebra, special education handoffs, everything down to something as simple as a calendar. How do the calendars partner together? Make the world a better place for kids. So that's some of the examples.
All right, next question will begin with Debbie Torak. How can we better meet the mental health needs of our students?
That's a good one. So this is an ongoing and ever ongoing, sadly. We actually have the Healthy Kids Student Survey that we use to evaluate areas that maybe we aren't helping our students. We have a district wellness committee, which Fiona and I sit on, where we investigate areas that we could potentially enhance our efforts to help kids. We have counselors and tutorials and a tutorial session now for our students. And it's sad, but this is continuing to grow, and we need to continue to enhance the ways that we're looking at this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fiona?
Sorry. So other things that we're working on as far as student mental health is, I'm really proud that in the last 4 years we've approved a homework policy that collectively across the 5 board members and our teaching staff, how do we provide a little bit of an easing of that academic load? So homework-free weekends, homework-free breaks, no tests on a Monday after a break, those kinds of things to try to impact our students' lives so that when they get a break, they actually really get a break. We do have 7 full-time therapists on staff, plus CHAC assistants as well. We've got refer a friend boxes in 3 different places on each of our comprehensive high schools. They're checked 3 times a day. Students in crisis should be getting the help that they need. Folks are reaching out to them. Help buttons on the websites, and I'll also just mention Spartans Pause and Wellness Week at Los Altos and Mountain View High Schools, our parent-run programs that support our kids.
Katherine?
Well, one thing I'm excited about is in the new construction plans based on the funds from the bond, we'll have what's called, similar to student centers, almost like in a college, and they will have wellness centers, and wellness centers will has the word wellness in it, that will kind of consolidate or focus some services to students to be well in all categories. The other thing we can do is probably do more teacher staff development to assist teachers in the classroom to recognize mental health issues with their students and either help them in the classroom or refer them to services to help them. And we have such a broad range of students, all the way from stress of high academics to students that have no food or home security. So we have a broad range of students to deal with.
Next question will begin with Fiona Walter. Are you encouraging dual credit classes at the high schools? And if so, how?
Can I clarify quickly? Dual credit meaning with Foothill College, with college credits? Oh,
yes.
Okay, perfect, thanks. Yeah, actually we have a new pilot program this year. It's called College Now, and we have 25 kids in College Now, which takes juniors and seniors up to Foothill High School. This is different than our middle college program. For those of you who know middle college, the College Now is truly that independent student who was ready to go to college. So these kids can graduate, if they join as a junior, they can graduate with an AA degree as well as a high school degree and go on from there. So the difference between that program and middle college is this very nurturing 30-student cohort with dedicated high school teachers and college courses, whereas College Now is strictly college courses.
Katherine?
Well, this is a new program for MVLA. one thing that has been true all along is that many AP classes qualify for people, depending on the university or college they go to, for credit going into college. I, for instance, started with more than a semester of college credit when I started college from AP classes I took in high school. So that is also another way that it can be done. But it's nice for the students to be able to go to an actual college campus and get that kind of experience with those kind of students, as opposed to on the high school campus. So any time a student can do that and not be overly stressed, and it will help suit their goals, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Debbie.
Okay, as Fiona noted, we have College Now. We also have Middle College, and Middle College is a program that we put in place to service kids that quite aren't on our mainstream schools, but need a different atmosphere where they can also get some credits. We're looking at adding another 2 sections possibly next year if all goes well with the budget, and that will enable more kids to take those programs. We also have Foothill sponsoring or teaching classes on our campuses as well, where students can get classes. In addition to that, I think that's about it. I think everybody covered everything.
Very good, thanks. All right, we'll move to the next question and begin with Katherine Vonnegut. The University of California's Curriculum Integration Initiative, or UCCI, is designed to expand opportunities for applied learning in California so that high school students can prepare for college while exploring careers. Are you familiar with the UCCI? And do you believe the district should or should not do more to expand programs that combine rigorous academics with career technical education?
Well, I am only cursorily familiar with that. I have heard of it. However, in general, I do feel that that's something that we should be maybe doing more of, is career technical education. The community colleges have a lot of technical programs that are maybe not even 4-year degrees, but are things that students can do with an AA or whatever. But that may or may not be as technical as some of the STEM other kind of programs and so on. But anything you can do to expand the students' understanding of the kinds of things they might want to do in the future is a great idea.
Debbie.
Yeah, I think we do, and Avid actually right now is sponsoring a program where they host field trips to industries in our neighborhoods that, like Google and Facebook and stuff, to expose them to areas where maybe they can be successful of. People in those industries or groups actually come that have similar backgrounds to them, show them that they can be successful as well. So that's a way of exposing our Avid students to a way that they can kind of assimilate with and know that if this person can do it, then I can do it. We also have, through our adult ed program, a CTE class and a nursing assistance program that enable a lot of kids to, after maybe high school, go on and get a medical assistance degree to be and assimilate into like El Camino Hospital or somewhere else where they can be working. So I think that's about it for me.
Fiona?
Yeah, other pathways in our high schools, definitely CTE is something that we pay attention to and that we believe in, and certainly that I personally believe in. We've got a STEAM academy at Los Altos High School, which has a fabrication and design component, so it's got that arts component as well as the engineering component. It has capstone classes like ASI, which is the Advanced Scientific Investigation course. Mountain View High School has a 4-year engineering strand with pre-engineering, engineering 1 and 2, ending in architecture, which is again, it's an entire sequence that would get us to a CTE type of environment. Los Altos also has culinary, which is another aspect of that. And then just one final example to add to what Katherine and Debbie provided. Alta Vista actually has hosted a construction program in the past, which the attempt was to partner with labor unions to perhaps get a pipeline going that way.
Good. All right, the next question will go to Debbie Torok. With the emphasis on STEM subjects, what should the high schools do to make sure that the arts, English, history, etc. are not neglected?
So those are good because it's well-rounding our students. We do a lot in programs like our band, drama, dance, ceramics. So the opportunities of those classes are there. Whether or not the students are taking them based on the pressures that the parents are imposing on them or whomever to do well, I don't know. I would encourage students to be well-rounded and take them. But I think we offer the classes. I'm just hopeful they take them.
Fiona?
Yeah. So I think the arts in particular are alive and well on our campuses. I mean, upwards of 60% of our kids participate in some kind of either band or choir or performance type of activity. When we get to supporting history, English, and world languages, for example, to better well-round our students, many of those are actually graduation requirements. So, of course, we've got kids in those classes as well. We've got a wide variety of those classes, although conversations recently have been to figure out, how to perhaps even expand those offerings across a college prep course to an honors to an AP and make sure that kids have options so that we don't stress them out completely.
Thank you. And Katherine?
Well, I'm a STEM kind of person myself. However, all things are important, and I'd like to go back to my analogy of the gems in the rough, all the different colors that we're trying to help shape them for their future. All of them are equally valuable, whether it was a diamond or a ruby or a sapphire, they're all equally valuable. So I think one thing is some of the students feel that they are not as valued because they are not a STEM person or whatever. So that is part of our job too, is to make everyone feel welcome and feel that their passion is as important as anyone else's, for one. And if I have time, I'll refer to you, and I will only be able to paraphrase it, a quote by John Adams in 1780 that said something like, I study engineering, I don't know if it was engineering, and architecture so that my sons can study literature and architecture so that their children have the freedom to study arts and the like. So I think we need to understand that all of them are important and included, and make sure the students do too.
All right, the next question will go to Fiona Walter. As a board member, how do you plan to stay informed about how the students are feeling about board actions, like the homework policy, mental health support, etc.?
So we have feedback mechanisms of various kinds. Some of those show up as actual board agenda items as we get updates or follow-ups. For example, with the homework policy, we're checking in on that every couple of years, make sure that we're still providing a great education, but that the students are also enjoying the benefits of that policy. Our principals check in with our students often. Wynn Satterwhite is the queen of student surveys at Los Altos, and we hear back from those what's going on with our students. We also, as board members, we get invited to go talk to the school newsletters or to go talk to campus clubs, and that's always very fun as well. Last spring, I see Sanjay Deve in the back. Sanjay and I went and had lunch with students at Los Altos High School. So examples like that are great ways to connect with students.
Katherine?
Well, I think sometimes board actions are not as well understood because even if the district thought they communicated, the recipients did not feel communicated with. So all we can do is work on that. And there's several ways. Surveys are one. Chats with the superintendent, I suppose, could be another idea, or with some board members occasionally. certain kind of sessions like this, the old-fashioned suggestion box, and I don't know what kind of thing we have that, but different people need communicating in different ways. We know that even with the cell phone. Some people want to text, some people want a phone call, some people want to go over to the email. So different people need to be communicated with differently, and we need to figure out how to do a better job in the different ways so people feel understood and respected.
Debbie?
All right. So we're very fortunate to have student board reps on our board who we're hopeful, they're from ASB, and we're hopeful that they're carrying back our words and what happens in board meetings back to the ASB to repeat. There's also often Oracle and Talent reporters from the both schools that are reporting on our activities, not only reporting, but occasionally calling us to ask us for interviews. We also have Wynn and Dave writing their daily or their weekly reports, letting them know about the activities on the board. We get out and we walk campuses and go into classrooms and meet with teachers and observe the actions of students and teachers in the classroom. And we also are very fortunate to have Cynthia Graves, our communication person for the district, who carries a Facebook page and disseminates information out to the community and to our students on our behalf.
Thank you. The next question will begin with Katherine Vonnegut. How should Mountain View Los Altos High School District attract, train, and retain great teachers?
Well, I think that since we are one of the best paying salary districts in the state, and we have good employee benefits also, attracting them from that point of view is not that difficult. But the housing crisis locally puts a dent in that because some people just don't think they can afford it. We are very strict already with the teachers once we get them. Over their first 2 years, their probationary periods, so we weed out ones that aren't in the excellent category pretty darn soon. So I think we need to work on helping them with the housing issues and then make sure that the climate is a good climate to work in at our schools.
Debbie?
Okay. I agree with you, Katherine. I also think that we do a lot for professional development for our staff, and we encourage them to allow them to think out of the box in some ways, and the MVLA Foundation provides us with innovation grants, which teachers can apply for, which allows them to get some extra money to be able to do something different for their classroom to engage their students and make it interesting. And I think that's important. I think if the teachers are happy and they feel supportive, which I believe our board does, that they would like to stay even though we may pay them very well in the district, it's still not enough to be able to live in this area, and we understand that. We've endorsed the Landed, which is a program that helps with funding the down payment on homes for teachers if they so choose to do that, but there's still more we can do. As my son works in San Jose Unified, we're doing better, but it's not enough.
Fiona?
Thanks. I think we all kind of had this answer ready as we had to do it for the voice. Yeah, so even with our generous salary schedule, the cost of living around here is pretty daunting. And so various ideas around teacher housing have of course been proposed. Joe Simidian's ideas, of course, dancing around the 5 local school districts. That kind of out-of-the-box thinking can help us retain teachers, but another way that we can work on retaining teachers is by being good partners with them and making, as Debbie and Katherine referenced, making MVLA a really great home for them. We take teacher tenure so seriously. The minute a teacher has tenure, we want them to be family forever. We've made that commitment to them. We want them to stay with us. So to the extent that, Debbie talked about professional development, advanced certifications, ongoing best practices for our students, I would certainly support all of these efforts to keep our talented staff.
Thanks. All right, the next question will go first to Debbie Torok. What is the role of Alta Vista in MVLA? And how should the district continue to invest in Alta Vista?
Wow, I love Alta Vista. Alta Vista is basically the gem. It's a gem. It helps students with credit recovery. If a student's not being successful in our mainstream schools and they can't make it, then they have the ability to go to Alta Vista, where there's a more, a way for them to move forward at their own speed. And the teacher ratio to the student with support is phenomenal. And the teachers are so incredibly caring there. A lot of students might not want to go there because they want to stay on their mainstreams, but they would be better served if they were to opt to go to Alta Vista. The kids there, like I said, are getting one-to-one help, caring teachers, credit recovery, and they're actually going on to graduate and become successful. So it's a great program.
Fiona.
So I will echo all of that. I was going to open with, I love Alta Vista, but Debbie opened with that. So, yeah, so Alta is our credit recovery program. It's for kids who, life got in the way. Something's going on at home. They can't keep up with the mainstream. They get the individualized attention that they need. Bill Pierce is our leader over there, who is tremendously, amazingly wonderful. Our social services liaison is based out of Alta Vista. While this person is available for the other two campuses, they are based at Alta because that's probably where we need them the most. Alta is a partnership with Palo Alto, so we have 4 high schools feeding into approximately 85 kids on the Alta Vista campus. Again, those teachers are phenomenal. There's a farm back there if you ever get a chance to tour. We've got chickens and goats and baby goats and 3D printers. And I mean, there's all kinds of really neat things happening at Alta Vista.
Thank you. Katherine.
I love Alta Vista High School, and I think Bill Pierce is an absolutely incredible administrator. That is the principal there, and he treats all those kids practically like family, and their teachers do too. They almost seem like a family, and they're very cohesive together, and the teachers really do address the more outlying needs of these students compared to the ones that would do as well in a traditional comprehensive high school environment. And it's just fabulous that we have this as one of our programs.
Fiona Walter. How will you ensure that the Measure E bond money will be spent well?
Gosh, you had to get that one.
So Measure E is near and dear to my heart. We did spend 18 months prior to going to the community formulating a plan for how those monies would be spent and what kinds of money we needed and where it would go. And all of that is publicly available online. We were very clear with the community, and that's a huge piece of why I want to stay on the board, is to fulfill those promises to the community. So ways that happens: board meeting updates to make sure that plans are on track, on budget, under budget ideally, oversight committee from the community as required by the bond language, repeat staff. Our project manager was with us for the prior round. He does construction with us. We know him. We know that he can do these projects for us on time. Other arenas, just a really watchful eye, and again, a veteran crew on the board to make sure that we follow through.
Katherine.
I don't have too much more to add to the oversight committee and the construction people that we trust very much. However, it is the board's responsibility to be the ultimate overseer, and in this case, I almost think of us as the auditor. The people are doing their job, but we have to review it on the periodic basis, like an auditor would the books. Only this case it's construction and the oversight committee itself to make sure that we are happy with the results, because we are responsible for this $298 million as the board.
Debbie?
Okay. So we did the master's facility plan, which we went out to all the stakeholders, talked to both high school PTSAs, and went to our neighbors, and basically came up with a plan, itemized it, that produced a budget. We went out for Measure E. We talked to voters and told them exactly how all of the money would be spent. And we passed the bond, and now we're going to start implementing it starting in the spring. We will have an oversight committee as well as the board that reviews it. We have, as Fiona said, we're using contractors and facilitators that we had in the past. So I'm confident that if we proceed the way we are doing, people know what we are intending to spend the money on, and they know each itemized item on how much money is projected to be spent. So I'm hopeful that we pass it on time and under budget like Measure A.
Thank you. Katherine Vonnegut. What would you do about lights for the stadiums?
Of course I knew you were going to say that. So I'm just going to read you the statement I sent to the boys. I would not be willing to bring a lighting proposal to the board vote at this time. Public input reveals sound systems, audio and pedestrian traffic, and pool lighting intertwine with the field lighting concern. These other situations can and are being researched separately. Trial lighting could be demonstrated. The rules for type and hours of use could be drafted before moving forward with the lights and should include specific needs by specific groups. Then an environmental impact report would be needed and may identify other concerns. And I would wish to meet with neighbors and others to see the research and do field trips to other schools to see what works so far. And communications is key with the neighbors and so on.
Debbie.
Okay, just read about it in the Mountain View Voice, what I said. But besides that, I just wasted 10 seconds. Anyways, my feeling on lights are that if the students, for their experience and what they need for academics as well as extracurricular, proves to be that in order to allow them to have whatever they need for academics and extracurricular, given that lights would enhance it, then that's the way we're going to have to move. The question is, I mean, the way I look at it, we're the only school in the Santa Clara County that does not have lights. We're looking at possible pulling our kids out of our periods of classes that are academic classes. We're looking at enrollment growth that is forcing our fields to be impacted where we cannot utilize them as much as we want to if we didn't have lights. So if we were to move forward with lights, I'm asking the district to explain to us exactly what the need is, why do we need them, and outline it so that we can then go out to our neighbors and say, this is why we need it. And then work with our neighbors to figure out a way to minimize the impact on them. We're not, and continue to communicate them. We need to build on our communication with our neighbors. Okay. Wasted that 10 seconds.
Fiona?
Yeah, this is also one of those questions that you'll see in the voice, as Debbie said. I do believe that our students can benefit from lights, and at the same time, the second sentence has to be that it has to be workable for our neighbors. So, for example, the academics that Debbie referenced, as we pull kids out early, we can quantify the hours that we're losing for academic time, in-seat time, because we need to start something at 3:30 because the sun will set at 5 in the winter. I know that the governor didn't approve the late start bill, but late start is really, really good for students, and it's something that I would be interested in exploring. Oh, I just got a 30-second. Am I okay?
Yes.
Okay. But late start is still something that I believe in and that I would like to explore for our district. So even though the governor didn't make us do it, it's good for students. And then just one last comment. I attended the homecoming game last week. We did have a night game last week. And the students, it's really a school. It's a community builder for school, and it's pretty incredible. So just a comment there.
Thank you. All right, for the next question, we'll begin with Debbie Torok. With the future development of North Bay Shore area, how will the district absorb the new students? Will a new school be needed, and if so, how will it be paid for?
Wow. Okay, so just so you know, we passed Measure E with approximately 48 projects that we knew were in the pipeline, and that money will pay for them. none of the Measure E money would be used for North Bayshore, and right now we are working with the city and various other groups to determine what is our best recourse and what we can do to house the kids that we need to actually educate. A lot of it's in negotiations, and I'm not privy to talk about it, but we do know that we need to give any students coming into our district an equitable and reasonable education that's equivalent to what we're giving all of our students now. So you can rest assured that that's our goal.
Fiona?
Thanks. Yeah, the local newspapers have pretty heavily covered the conversations across the school districts with the city of Mountain View, to the extent that that conversation has been public, and I'm grateful to the city for putting in the mitigation clause that says that that developers do need to work with us to figure out, specifically with North Bayshore and hopefully with East Wistman. That meeting's happening right now across the way. Yeah, I guess the piece that I would echo is that Measure E was not for those kids. It's for the kids that we already knew about. And with this collaboration, hopefully with the city, any potential new school, we need to provide the same opportunities and high caliber education that our current two campuses provide, so that every kid in our district would have an equal opportunity and equal experience. Thanks.
Catherine?
Well, I'm hoping with the different negotiations, the city and the school district can be firm with the developers and so on to have favorable land and fund and some of the funding towards a possible new school there, because the other option is to transport all those students over to our existing schools. But should we have one there, it's probably, I'm thinking, not going to be the same acre per student type size and so on. So maybe we could look at completely other solutions, like a what do you call it, a STEM school or an art school or another magnet school in that area that wouldn't need exactly the same kind of facilities, but they would be equal and serve a certain kind of our population.
Thanks. Fiona Walter, how can MVLA HSD be a better community partner?
How can, I missed the middle word, how can MVLA what?
High school district.
Oh, HSD, sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't. Be a better community partner?
Yes.
Let's see. We partner already with our elementary districts in the realm of academics and supporting our kids as they come through. We have very, very limited open field space, but we do partner with with a couple of outside athletic leagues to be able to use our field space. Let's see, an example of saying thank you to our community. Our band is up this weekend for the Community Thankathon for marching band. And I think we can be a better partner, sorry, this is coming to me late, with better communications in particular, as has been spotlighted by our neighbors through this lights conversation.
Catherine?
That was funny, spotlighted.
Yeah, sorry.
Spotlight on communication, but we do need to communicate with our community. I don't know exactly what was meant by this question, but we do work with the community legally and in partnership with the cities and the other school districts and other partners, such as through Challenge Team and so on in the area. So we maybe need to communicate that better to the surrounding neighbors and the rest of the community, and maybe be a more visible partner.
Debbie?
Well, so this is a little bit difficult. I think that our students that are going to our schools have parents that are in our district that know how well we're doing, that are in the community. I think that our high school newspapers are an avenue that if community members were to subscribe to them, they would hear more. We also have, again, Cynthia Graves, our communication person at the district, who's now reaching out through Facebook and various avenues very new addition to our district in hopes of letting everyone in the community know, and back to communicating with our neighbors, we're looking at ways to be better about reaching out to neighbors, maybe an e-list or some kind of communication path that can give them updates on events that are happening rapidly. But Cynthia Gray's was our biggest addition, I think, to help out our community.
For the penultimate question, we'll begin with Katherine Vonnegut. What's an issue that you think the MVLA board should prioritize, and how would you go about trying to solve it?
Well, there's so many that it's hard to settle on one, and I know the lights are a big concern, but that is a short-term concern, if you will, because we will have moved on and done the research and decided what we're going to do with all the related situations there pretty soon. But then we have the ongoing of academics, always, the ongoing of mental health and safety of all our students, and being a software engineer, the technology changing so rapidly out from under all of us all the time, and we need to have use the technology correctly in the classrooms and administratively, and have our students proficient also.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. What's an issue that you think the MVLA board should prioritize, and how would you go about trying to solve it?
Okay. So you say issue. I mean, I want to say Measure E is a big thing, but I don't think that's an issue because I think we're on the path to doing well on that. Closing the achievement gap is always a big one, and that's always a moving target. We're looking at offering new classes to our students so that it's engaging and interesting for them, encouraging students to take AP that wouldn't before, that if you take an AP class and you're successful in it, then maybe you're on the road to success in that academic arena. So I guess mostly the biggest issue would be continuing to ensure that all of our students are challenged, they have rigorous classes, and that they are exceeding at the potential that they can.
Fiona?
Okay, so student success has officially been taken. I will then hit enrollment growth. This concerns me as a board member looking ahead. As our enrollment grows, our dollars do not, our funding model, our students do not arrive with $1 per student. We're funded by property taxes. If our economy takes a downturn at the same time that our enrollment goes up, our budget becomes very, very, very tight. So what are we doing about this? We're working toward a 17% reserve, which is what's recommended by the state for a district like ours. We are currently at 12.5%, so we are getting there. But it will, the goal, of course, is to continue to provide this amazing education for our students and help every student succeed, even in lean times. So the enrollment growth scares me a little bit.
Thank you. This will be our last question, and I'd like to take the opportunity to ask the candidates whether any of you has a question you wish you had been asked. No?
I have one.
Take a minute, think about it. If not, we'll conclude. Okay. Thank you. Then we will move on to closing statements. They'll be given in reverse order from the opening statements. So it'll be Fiona Walter, and then Debbie Torok, and then Katherine Vonnegut. Fiona?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so as we wind down, I'd like to leave you with a few reflections. As I said, I'm proud of our students in our district. Our team works both very well and very hard to provide leadership, direction, and guidance for our many programs. The goal is academic success for all students, and there are so many challenges ahead. We could have spent all evening tonight on student wellness, not to mention the budget to support it and the buildings to house it. We worked so hard together last spring to pass the bond that will allow us to serve all our extra students. I want to see that through to completion and make good on promises made to our community. I want to be part of the MVLA tradition that provides on-time, under-budget bond projects, wisely using our tax dollars in these efforts. I want to keep our eyes on student achievement while we build all these buildings. And I want to work alongside all of you to make MVLA stronger. I'm eager to continue on this board. I've spent the last 4 years getting to know our communities even better. I completed Leadership Mountain View in 2005 while on the Mountain View Wisman board, and Los Altos Lead in 2015 while with MVLA. I've served on multiple district committees and spent many hours on 6 campuses. Yes, we have 6, Mountain View High School, Los Altos High School, Alta Vista, Freestyle Academy, Middle College, and Adult Education. All 6 are under our umbrella. Being on the MVLA school board is a rather large juggling act. There's a lot going on in every corner of the district at all times. I've thoroughly enjoyed serving these last 4 years, and I get extra energy when I think about the next 4. Yesterday, I was thrilled to learn that I'd been endorsed by the Los Altos Town Crier. The Mountain View Voice has not yet endorsed, but plenty of individuals have, and I'm grateful for their support. There's more information at my website, FionaForSchoolBoard.com, and I would be honored to have your vote. I'm number 4 on the ballot. Thanks.
Thank you. Debbie Torak.
The district has many programs and projects in progress that I want to see to completion. To name a few, Measure E projects with construction starting this spring. Ensuring that the Mountain View Los Altos receives the WASC, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, reaccreditation. Maintaining progress on closing the achievement gap while raising the economic achievement levels of all of our demographic subgroups. And continuing to develop wellness initiatives to support our staff and students' well-being. Of course, we always must remain focused on our board goals, which drive us to foster improved academic achievement for all our students at all performance levels. And this is a copy of our goals, which I know that Fiona actually brought, that are really, really nice goals. In summary, I believe that my 8 years of board experience, which include but are not limited to overseeing our past Measure A bond projects from inception to on time and under budget completion, like Joe Mitchner over there, previous successful WASC reaccreditation, and active representation of the board as a member of the District Wellness Committee and Partnership Council will enable me to provide valuable continuity and historical perspective as we move forward. My sincere hope is that all 4,383, that's the number of students we had in school today, of our students graduate from high school with positive and memorable experiences, well prepared for their future endeavors, and that they become successful and passionate about whatever they choose to do. I humbly ask you to continue to put your trust in me to help our students achieve these goals. Thank you.
Katherine Vonnegut.
I want to thank the League and the other partners for presenting this forum, and I also want to thank you, the audience, for listening and for providing such thoughtful questions. The job of a trustee is to make policy decisions and give direction to our superintendent to implement. We then oversee the implementation. We are the eyes and ears for the community, seeing what's happening, hearing public concerns, and making and refining decisions based on the feedback. We are also the public representatives of our district to toot our horn about the excellence we already have, and yet, when necessary, admit our mistakes and move forward for the betterment of our students, teachers, staff, parents, and the community. I want to prioritize, as I said before, the academic curriculum, always top, health and safety, particularly the mental health of our students, and, as I said, ever-changing technology in our environment. I have been involved over the last 40 years with children and also in MVLA for a number of years in most aspects as a parent and even as a part-time employee, and on the Adult School Advisory Board, and I would like to take the next step and be your trustee. I want to serve MVLA for, I guess, as I said, around 4,000 hours over the next 4 years to work collaboratively with my fellow trustees. And I want to support those precious gems of children to help them thrive.
Thank you. This concludes our forum. I want to thank the candidates very much for participating. We also thank all of the volunteers who have made this forum possible. Many of them are here, many are behind the scenes. And we thank you, the audience, for your attendance and engagement in the electoral process. This forum is presented in the belief that democratic government depends on the informed and active participation of its citizens. We hope it will help you in making your decisions. Don't forget to visit our votersedge.org website, and please, please vote on Tuesday, November 6th, and help our democracy work. Thank you and good evening.
Nice job.